So I know that's, and everybody's going, why am I here?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
And I gotta be honest, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give it to you straight.
I walked into my house and you were sitting
There I
here
was. And
with cameras. It's unbelievable.
I found it's the easiest way to get an interview because you threaten people. You freak them out, you creep them out, especially in LA.
Yeah.
And there's like, I'll give you whatever you need if you promise to leave quickly. And so that's how I ended up here. But fan of your work and your comedy. And, when I began to go on this journey, it was really because, honestly, it's one of the most volatile issues in the world. It seems to put countries and cultures at odds over this little country that just says, can we just be a country for a second? That's all we want, please. And yet it has such this larger socio-political overtures to how people are perceiving where the world's going next or what's happening. And so I really wanted to say, what is the answer? There's got to be an answer to this thing. What is it about Israel that there doesn't seem to be any middle ground? You hate it or you love it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find Jewish comics. As a comic, I wanted to be with my fellow people that would trust me and I could trust them, with this amazing history of humor. So why don't we just start with just that element as a Jewish comic?
Right.
What in the world has drawn so many wonderful comics from the Jewish heritage to comedy? Do you think there's a parallel there for why they're in that in the first?
Yeah, there might be. Well, first of all, what makes so many comics Jewish? And less so now than there used to be. In the 70s and 80s, 85% of the stand-up comedians were Jewish. Okay? So, when Jews started to be allowed to talk, like for instance in silent movies, there were no Jewish comedians. They were all non-Jews. Chaplin, Keaton, Harold Lloyd, Harold Langdon, all non-Jews, because they couldn't talk. Jews have to be able to talk. This is a big thing for Jews. If they can't talk, so Jews are great storytellers, and they're good at making fun of themselves.
But why?
It's a good question. One thing I think is that because Jews have been on the run so long, that they always have to have a profession that they can carry with them at all times. Like diamond merchants, they got $6 million worth of diamonds, and they don't have to, have all kinds of big,
or some,
some big company or something like that. So, stand-up comedy you can carry with you.
Yeah.
I can right now. I'm sitting on the couch. If there were 9,000 people outside my front door, I could walk out right now and entertain 9,000 people for an hour. So we always have it with us.
Yes.
Which is good and bad, because it makes it a little like, do I have it tonight? You never quite know.
Well, trying to do some research, and I look at the Jewish people, and I'm not Jewish, though I'm sure you wish I was.
I get my rabbi to give you a little clip.
Oh, is that
get you right in.
Easy? Yeah. And nothing could be more compelling to make me want to join.
Strap you right down on the table here.
Yeah. I'm surprised more men aren't jumping on board with
it's usually the only people that can eat after something like that. The circumcision, I'm hungry. Let's get a sandwich right now.
We need a bagel immediately.
Yeah, somehow it heats us up, works up an appetite in Jews.
You're a special group. But, if you I don't know that I'm wrong in saying that maybe Jews are the most historically documented, persecuted people group in history.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's been persecuted. Everybody has had a turn. Everybody's been the slave somewhere. We've all had Christians. We've been slave. But to document it for so long, we stayed together. It wasn't just suddenly I had darker skin or suddenly I was from Wisconsin.
Right.
It was a very specific nationality of people with a very specific calling. We are now this.
Yeah.
And we can follow your legacy, and yet there's this animus, this animosity against.
From the beginning of time.
What is that? Why do you guys keep pissing everybody off?
Yeah. I think it's just somehow built into the DNA of mankind that there's something they have to have a scapegoat, and why not the Jews?
But
What's
there's got to be more than that, because there's always been...
Well, some people say it's proof that there's God, is because when you got this group of people that's been chased around for eternity, and they're still thriving more than ever. I mean, everyone else is gone. The Spaniards, the Romans are all gone, and they were running the world. You got a handful of people who everybody's chasing, going, and when I get you, I'm going to kill you, and then they're thriving more than ever.
Yes.
I
So
mean,
you
Mark
see
Twain.
that as, like, some people would see that as providential.
Yeah, Mark Twain was amazed by it. Winston Churchill was amazed by it. It's an amazing sort of thing.
Well, so that
They
brings...
also, the Jews brought the one God notion into the world, monotheism into the world, and a value system and a moral system. People don't like that. People don't like to be told that they need to do something. You know?
But there were other religions that told them what to do, so what was it?
Well, you had
about
the 7 laws of Noah, right? Noahide laws, but the Jews bringing the one God in, that changed the whole ball of wax.
That just put everybody on edge.
Yeah, that made people jumpy.
If we can't have numerous gods, something is desperately wrong with these people, and we need to let them know it for, like, millennia.
And one you can't see.
Ah, okay.
It's a big deal.
That is a good one.
Before that, everybody had the, you know, the statue and this and that, and you can see it. But now they come up with one you can't see.
Yeah.
It's like my mother. You know, I know what you're doing even when I'm not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
But even the name, God's name, wasn't it not even allowed to be uttered out loud? I thought.
There were many names. I think some of them,
Yahweh, I mean.
disappeared, and you know, my people we call Hashem. You know.
Well, but that brings us then to this notion of, as you said, this constant abuse, this constant scattering, and it made me wonder, and that's why I thought of comedy, since that's something that we have in common, and we kind of have that understanding of what that feels like and takes to be that kind of a person. But it almost, as I tried to do some research, as an idiot, trying to figure this out, it seemed to me that there almost seemed to be, I don't know if it was culturally or just maybe habitually or out of self-preservation, but almost it seemed to be this passed on sense of appeasement that Jewish people learned to appease. Hey, we've been here 200 years. Well, we're taking it. All right, see ya. They just never were able to have power. They never owned enough to be able to say, really, and I'm going to take you. So they had to learn how to survive basically by trying to get along or get out.
But they also tried to fit into all these different societies. I mean, it wasn't like they just were pulling away. I mean, in Germany, they were in the army. I mean, they were really adding to, you know, and everything. In Rome, I mean, the Jews were always right there trying to be part of that nation.
Yes.
Eventually, they always get chased out.
Yes. And then suddenly, in like 1947, something happened that had never been recorded or happened or made accessible to Jews for who knows how many, I guess till Old Testament, Torah time.
Yeah, thousands of years.
Yeah. An opportunity for them to have a land to call their own, to be safe, to be able to have self-preservation, determination, to feel good about who they are as a people.
A lot of people think it was a gift of the Holocaust, but it really wasn't. We dated back there a long time before the Holocaust.
Okay.
It wasn't because they felt bad for the Jews that they gave them this land.
Right.
This was going on for a long time.
And
there's been a Jewish presence there forever.
Yes. Now, what I was trying to figure out was it was called Palestine.
Yeah.
But there were Palestinian Jews.
Right.
And Arabs. So it really wasn't really a country at that point. Yes, it was, I mean, there wasn't really Palestinian. It was more of the name the Romans gave it.
Yeah, there were no Palestinian people, really.
Yeah.
They came about somehow. I'm not exactly sure of that lineage.
Okay. Because what I'm trying to figure out is, what's the truth? Because what I've noticed in my exploration of anything as a comic. You're trying to find out different nuances of ideas.
The truth about what? What, the Palestinian
well,
thing?
about anything, because here's what I found frustrating. It started me kind of on this journey about Israel and this Palestinian issue, was that I could come to you and say, I got 3 scientists with double doctorates that can prove to you that climate change is real.
Yeah.
They got doctorates, they got proof.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
But then I can come next day and say, I got 3 more double doctorates who will guarantee you this isn't real.
Right.
So I realized that it appears that people choose their own expert. You find the expert that
Sure.
kind of already sees it your way.
Sure.
So I thought to myself, how is there something out there that I could examine that is controversial, doesn't seem to have any nuance, it's black or white, I'm in or I'm out, there doesn't have
Right.
I don't care, Israel, whatever. And there is no whatever.
Yeah.
It seems to be adamant that you have to be on one side of this because there's no middle ground.
It is
Does that make
remarkable.
sense to
Yeah,
you?
it is remarkable that people. Well, it's all predicated and based on lies.
Okay.
Lies are what start the trouble.
Okay.
So when you lie to an entire group of people that this person's out to get you or this group is out to get you, you're going to believe it when they're real little. You know that saying, if the Jews put down their guns, the Jews will be murdered. If the Palestinians put down their guns, there'll be peace.
Okay. Now, how do people trust that Jews would be peaceful? Was it just by history, or?
Well, all you have to do is look at how Palestine, or the Arabs live in Israel. They live better in Israel than they do in any Middle Eastern country in the world. They don't want to leave Israel. The Arabs that live there. Palestinians and Arabs to live there. Yeah, they don't want to live in Israel. They have it so much better.
Okay.
They leave Israel. They go anywhere in the Middle East, and they're basically tortured.
Yes. Now, one of the major claims I've seen used against Israel is it's an apartheid state.
Yeah.
That they essentially have placed Arabs into a second-class citizenship and so forth. Now, you've been to Israel numerous
Many times.
Okay.
All 3 of my boys were bar mitzvahed there.
Okay. And
We actually did that to save money. It's much cheaper to actually take your whole family, go to Israel, have a bar mitzvah at the wall, stay there for 2 weeks, then rent a hall in Los Angeles for 1 night. It's absolutely remarkable. It's really remarkable.
Who's making money on the bar mitzvah in
Yeah.
LA? Because he's
I know, it's unbelievable.
Jewish guy making money off of his own. How much does it normally cost for a bar mitzvah?
Well, it depends who you are. Most people here probably spend $20,000 and up. Take my family of 5 people at Israel, $2,000 a pop for tickets. Even less, probably $1,000 each, and then you got hotel, food. A couple of people come to share it with you. Then you got 2 weeks.
And you'd think it'd be more significant, certainly, for your son.
My kids will never forget it.
Yeah.
I barely remember my bar mitzvah. It was that one night. I was drunk.
Okay.
It's a whole different thing. Yeah.
As you should have
But
been.
I was 13. I was a man.
That's true.
So really, it makes a big
and
difference.
you had that surgery, which
Yeah.
I'm sure would make any man
It's so
drink.
funny that they tell you, today you are a man, then you pick up a beer. Put that down, young. What do you think you are?
Wait a minute.
I'm a man. Get in your room, man.
So it is kind of, you aren't actually brought into the society as a man. It's more symbolic.
Yeah, well, you take on, the bar mitzvah, what you do is you take on the other, things to do. You put on wrapping this thing called tefillin, saying prayers 3 times a day.
So there's more religious responsibility.
Yeah, there's more responsibility.
I
That's
see.
right. You are now really responsible.
Okay. Okay.
Before that, God kind of wipes everything clean.
Okay.
But then when you're 13, you start,
Sort of.
racking them up.
Yeah, you have your own.
He still marks on a curve, but not as easy. You know what I mean?
Okay. So the
He better, I'll tell you that.
So that's going back to my, pick your expert. For the people that say it's apartheid, so you would say that was just used as a slander against Israel?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, are the Jews 100%, clean? Who is? The problem is that Israel is held to such a high level that no other country in the world is held to.
Okay.
I mean, Syria kills 200,000 people. Nobody's screaming. Jews build 2 apartments. The whole world is nuts. I mean, the level that they're held to is virtually impossible.
Okay. And would would you say that...
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah. I'm coming from my perspective. When, you know, and I will say this, in the year 2015, when we're filming this, is kind of the first time that I've been more brought face to face with what persecution really looks like. As a man who grew up in America, typical Protestant Christian man, it's pretty safe. You know, I mean, that was kind of like those folks kind of made this country, so
Absolutely.
I'm in good shape. That isn't so much the case anymore. I'm seeing certainly some very brutal attacks specifically towards Christians in what we're seeing overseas in the Middle East that are
horrific.
That we've seen. But I'm sure a Jewish person would say, yeah, it's terrible, but welcome to the club. I mean, that's pretty much.
Well, I don't know if, you know, we're not so laissez-faire about it.
Yes.
Probably many are, but I feel a deep pain by what's happening to the Yazidis and, you know, all these people. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I do think, you know, I send out information about it to my Christian friends. And the problem is, they don't seem to care, many of them. I mean, I said to my friend who goes to church every week, and I love him, he's one of my best friends in the world, I said, does your priest talk about this? Never. Never. Not a word about it. I said, this is insane. How can you not talk about this? Slaughtering you by the thousands every day. They're wiping out everybody. Not a word. What's going on?
I know. They've been driven out of some of their, you know, thousands of years in a city. And
I mean, I'm in dread about it.
Well,
but that's normal. By the way, they come to get us first, and then when you know, if they can't get us, then they got to move on to someone else.
Okay. And would you say that if I was a Christian then in Israel, I've never been there, I'm going.
Yeah.
I got to go see it. I got to check it out, and I hope to be there soon.
Stay away from the Jewish women.
Is that okay?
From the what?
The Jewish women.
Leave them alone. Leave them alone. They fall for guys like you. You're beautiful.
Is that okay?
If I wasn't married, I don't know.
You'd fall for me.
You're
Yes,
unbelievable.
I know. I
You're
fell
so
for myself
handsome.
a couple times, and it was embarrassing.
God did not give me the handsome gene like He gave you.
Well, tell me about who would I have more issues or problems with my particular faith, Muslims or Jews?
There's no doubt about it. The Muslims.
Okay.
Not even close. You can't even.
Even in Israel.
Listen, you and I disagree on our God thing. You know, right? I mean.
Well, I think we agree on the God. I think we disagree on the Messiah.
The Messiah, okay,
Yeah.
but we can get along beautifully.
Right.
Beautifully. I mean, if in fact, what we owe your people is everything. You know, if it wasn't
How do you
for
mean,
the
your
Christians in America, you made us more welcome here than anywhere in the world has ever done.
Why do you think that is?
Because you changed. What went on 1,000 years ago, or longer, went on 1,000 years ago, ain't happening today. You changed.
Right.
What's happening now in the Middle East, they're not changing. They're not changing, and it doesn't look like they're going to change. And we used to get along a lot better with the Muslim people. It wasn't happening, you know, like not too long ago.
Yeah.
But you know, so we owe you everything. But you would get along with the Jews. Nobody would ever blink an eye. You walk into any synagogue or nothing.
Right. Okay. Well, and that's what I want to find out. You know, I want to
Go to
see
Israel. Everybody's walking around. You got you know, big crosses. You know, the why am I blanking on it now? You go into the old city. You got every race, color, religion there, all over the place.
Now, I always
The Baha'is have their biggest temple. I mean, it's unbelievable.
But you know, you give credit to my people in a very kind. But I would say the same to Jews towards Christians. I'll tell you why. Because I always felt like Christianity to Jews, at least Orthodox Jews, must be like Mormonism is to Christians. Because I could see why for a Jew it would be a little awkward if I was to say to you, you got a great book. Love that Torah. Good book.
Right.
Got a better one. This one came
Right.
next. And you're going to be going, excuse me? Because the Mormons did that. It's like,
Right.
love your Bible.
Right,
Got
but
another one.
yeah,
when Jesus went and visited the Indians in North America. So I feel like in some odd way we are linked, obviously, because Christians were all Jews in the beginning.
Yeah.
Including Jesus.
Yeah.
So there seems to be you would think in some degree there would be a connection, but by the same token, perhaps a fear of this group basically trying to eliminate your heritage.
Yeah.
By saying, you know, that was fine, but now there's a new way to do this, and you're going to go, whoa. So I was wondering how Israel would then not be, in some ways, seeing Christians perhaps as usurpers, or maybe they have another agenda here, but you haven't
Yeah, they
found
talk
that
about the agenda all the time. I mean, I hear that.
Hmm.
You're not going to get Jewish people to change. You know, we know that. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I can't get my family to eat soup they don't like. You know, how are you going to get, you know, all these people? It's virtually impossible. So most Jews aren't so worried about that. What we are concerned about is that we remain friends.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. You know, it's funny. President Clinton once said, you know, when they talk about the Jewish presence in the Middle East and Israel, Yasser Arafat was saying, you know, there was no Jewish presence here. And Clinton said, Jesus?
Yeah.
Wasn't he here?
Right.
You know, Jewish.
So are you taught as a Jew that the land that is now considered Israel was given to you in the Torah, in the Old Testament?
Yeah.
And
God
what
promised
area?
the land.
Exact same area, or?
He got me on that. I mean,
and I don't know. I'm not trying to trick you. I don't know what I'm just trying to figure out, how do we decide this was actually ordained by God, but this part wasn't. That little stream's good, but you can't go over to the cave.
That one I don't know, but it was, you know, God promised the land to the Jewish people. I don't think that means that other people can't live there.
Yeah, but the precedent for historically having given that first can be documented from Jews as opposed to an Arab's perspective.
Yeah,
because they're saying they were there first.
Yeah,
I mean, so I'm just trying to figure out, how do we figure out what that means, or what's the truth?
The truth.
Right.
You know, much easier to find a lie. I think it's, you know, I convince people. I don't know.
But what raises?
Yes, you got, how many Jews live in Israel? Like 7 million? There's 13 million worldwide or something. Okay. So you got 7 million. What would be the rationale for 7 million people to try to fight 800 million? There's 800 million.
In the world?
No, surrounding them.
Oh,
there.
and it's just surrounding.
Forget about the world. You know, you got, you know, other countries where the Muslims are even bigger.
Okay.
Right? And, oh my God, I can't remember, but why would the Jews start a fight with 800 million people? It's insane. And they're not insane people. I mean, it just doesn't, I don't walk up to street gangs of 200 people and go, bring it on. Come on, bring it on.
Right.
I'm going to take it right now. Because it'd be nuts.
So during the it's been at least 3 or more peace talks.
Forever.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like since '48, and then we had what was it? Again, I'm just a regular guy. Don't have all this information. Not an academic.
Same here.
Okay.
Same here.
So everything I'm saying to you is wrong, and I'll go find out later, and then I'll put it in post and do a voiceover.
Every president has tried that since my time, has tried to cure this ill, and they all get blotted down.
Okay. Well, so
even when the Jews offered Yasser Arafat 99% of what he wanted, he turned it down.
He turned it down.
What more do you want?
Right.
You know?
And that's documented.
I mean, when I asked my mother for $5 allowance, if she gave me $4.98, I'd be happy. Am I going to say, I don't want it?
Yeah.
You're not giving me $5, I'm not taking $4.98, take a hike.
Why do you think he would turn down such a...
Because he didn't want peace.
Okay.
An agenda, he wants Jews dead. He was the Hitler of his group there. The only reason he didn't have more blood on his hands because he didn't have the opportunity to kill people. If he had the opportunity, he would have wiped them all out.
Okay. Well, you obviously are passionate about your faith and certainly your country. Do you feel a kinship to Israel? I mean, do you have, as a Jewish man? Do you feel like that truly is your homeland? That would be.
Yeah. I mean, I love America. America's the greatest.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you
This is the greatest country
I'm trying to
that
find how you. There is sometimes a deeper connection. I mean, if this is the only place you felt that you could go and feel like this is my people that.
Well, if Israel was around before World War II, so many Jews wouldn't have died. Because the only reason they died is because we didn't have Israel. Because they would have been in Israel, those 6 million.
Okay.
Maybe been less people in those other places. So that's why now it ain't going to happen. Now, they want to drop a bomb on Israel, you got coming at you. That make any sense?
It did. It does make sense, but let me tell you something that doesn't.
Yeah.
And I really need your help on this because this is your expertise. Again, in my pathetic attempt to do deep research on this very vital segment, which is usually just a couple Google searches, and that apparently passes for academia now. But what I was really puzzled over there seems to be a decent amount of Jewish people who are anti-Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not stupid people, not ignorant people, very highbrow, highly educated Jewish people that almost seem antagonistic. I'm talking about Noam Chomsky. I'm talking about folks who almost seems in some weird way, and I don't know if this is the wrong way to put it, but almost anti-Semitic.
They
and
are.
He's Semitic.
And he had families, I think, that went through the Holocaust. Chomsky.
So explain. Only you or Jewish people, I hope, could explain to us what would cause that type of an odd, almost self.
There's a couple of things. Well, he doesn't have the name Chump for no reason at all.
Okay.
I mean, there's a chump. But yes, he's a bright guy, and he's academic. And, it's a good question with some of these guys. I think some of them think that when they come to get the Jews, they're going to leave these guys alone for defending the other side. You had that during World War II. The guys who
sympathizers maybe.
They were with the Germans, and then they thought they were going to be skate through. That's one potential reason.
Okay.
The other is, Jews are their own worst enemies.
Why?
That's it's. I ask the same question of my people. I'll say to them, how could these people who are so smart and so well thought out, because they believe more in their agenda than they do in their people?
And what is their agenda?
Dennis Prager said, if you don't believe in something, you'll believe in anything. You have to believe in something. And these guys don't believe in something. So they're believing in this cause.
They don't believe, in other words, they don't somehow hold their heritage or their lineage or their religion sacred. It doesn't mean anything to them.
I don't think it means much to them at all. Yeah, I just don't think.
So that's what they would need to hang on to, is what I think you're saying.
Yeah.
For them to feel a loyalty towards that, as opposed to.
Look, Bill Maher is one of the funniest guys, but he doesn't buy into anything religious.
Right.
And therefore he's a smart guy. He just mocks it. He just says, religious people are stupid. That's what he's come up with, because he doesn't believe in.
But he's pro-Israel.
Now he is. I don't know if he's always been, but now he seems to. Well, because he sees what's going on. At least the guy has opened his eyes and has seen what's going on.
So it's not an easy question to answer. Obviously, it's not something, because I
asked the same question. How did these people take these stands?
Well, and if you don't know, and then you're of that.
You got these rabbis that go to Iran and dance with the Ayatollah.
Yes.
I mean, how do you figure this?
Well, and it makes me wonder. I mean, I said earlier in our interview, and this is just some idiot Gentile trying to figure this out. I said it seemed like I would see kind of a through line of this appeasement mentality of maybe if I just go along with it. It's almost like they've accepted their fate. We're never going to have power. We're never going to be able to. So let's just learn how to survive. and sometimes at the sake of even almost betrayal to the very people that if anybody they should be loyal to, it's those who also
Yeah,
are
you
in the
would think
same
so.
boat with them.
You would think so.
But you don't. There's not some sort of secret internal Jewish gatherings that you guys discuss
There's
these
always
things
people
and
that
figure
try to
them
rub out their own family. Every once in a while they pop up. Try to figure them out. I don't know if you can.
But if you were with other Jewish friends of yours, pro-Israel or whatever, you have never found any sort of sense of what is really happening mentally, like we were trying to figure. You said there nobody
I'm
really.
telling you, I've
it
asked.
truly is like
I've
some kind of
literally asked.
befuddlement for.
Yeah, I mean, I asked that question. How could?
Have you ever spoken to a guy that was anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli, and asked him, and what was his answer? They must have a reason.
Well, the Jews are doing evil work.
Okay.
That's their answer.
They would believe it's an apartheid state, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, the Jews.
Okay.
You know.
Do you believe that the Jews are or Israelis?
People believe that stuff, and if you believe the lie, you gotta act on it.
So what? So the claim of being occupiers. What is your thoughts on that as far as where you're occupying or?
What was that joke about occupied? On El Al Airlines, in the bathroom in the back, they took the word occupied off.
Oh, okay.
It caused so many problems.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not asking you to be an expert on all this either, nor am I. I'm just assuming, there's a culture in my people, Christian.
Yeah.
You have your sort of the subculture. You grow up in it, you talk about it, you learn different things. So you have your internal understanding. You could study all you want about Christianity if you wanted to have a bunch of Christian friends. But if you're not Christian, there's certain elements you're not.
Let's say the
gonna
Jews
get
were, people say they're occupying. So what have the Jews done? They've given back a lot of land.
Okay.
Right? What's happened with all the land they gave back? They gave back the Gaza Strip. What happened? So now they're closer to lob the bombs. And there's no end to it. The Jews could give all of Israel, and then they'll just chase them somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
There's no end to it. So occupiers, there's other places they can go sometimes in the world too. They got plenty of land there. It's just Israel's the size of New Jersey.
Right.
And by the way, they take in a lot of people. Who do they turn away? They start bringing in Ethiopians, Russians, airlifting people there.
You had talked to me earlier before we started filming about.
I wonder about all these other groups that live in Israel too. How come they don't feel it? How come the Baha'is don't feel like they're being, the Jews are occupiers? How come the Christians don't feel like the Jews are occupiers? How come? Other people live there.
Well, obviously, it's because the Arab Palestinians believe it's their land. I mean, there's no other way to. There'd be nothing else for them to fight for other than you stole.
But they give them back plenty of land already, and they just start lobbing bombs over.
Okay. Have you ever experienced anything while you were there of this type of violence or?
No.
No.
I've been there 7 times. Can't wait to get back.
What is it about it that draws you to there when you're there? When you walk into there, what is it that you experience?
I'm home.
So it does
I'm
feel
home.
like
all the signs are in Hebrew, all Jewish people walking around, and you're free to be exactly who you want to be, whether you're secular, religious, you're kind of home. I mean, I got to believe it's just, possibly similar for a Chinese person to go to China and just see all these people that,
I got you.
feel like you're home a bit. I don't know.
It seems like people need to feel.
And they make you feel welcome, too. They're very happy to see you.
You mean in general or to another Jewish person?
Anytime you're visiting Israel, when you walk into a store, they're thrilled that you're there visiting them.
Okay.
What about the BDS movement? Have you seen that gaining any traction?
Yeah, it is gaining traction.
Because you said you did a fundraiser?
We did a fundraiser with Alan Dershowitz, and we tried to bring awareness through Stand With Us, which is a great organization. I don't know if you know about them, but they're just on the front lines of helping, Israel. And
do you know who started the BDS movement?
Who started personally?
I mean, was there a particular person or a group that?
I don't know. I know they had a big coup the other day, in England. There was a Viola soda drinks. They just won a big thing, and they're very happy. They're jumping up and down.
Who won?
BDS.
Oh, they did win.
They just accomplished a big one the other day. They got like a huge company to pull out of Israel.
Okay.
But look, for every one company that pulls out, you know how many moving in there?
Mm-mm.
Huge. I think Apple's moving in. I mean, all kinds of people. And trillions of dollars worth of business with them. Because they know that the Jews are going to do a good job for them.
Yes. Can you tell me what, as a Gentile, what does Zionism mean? What's the difference between being Jewish or Israeli and a Zionist?
It's a good question to put into words. I mean, to believe in the homeland, in Israel.
That would be Zionism, just a belief.
A belief. I don't know if I could. Yeah, it's a good question. Again, I don't know if I could put it into words. I'm a Zionist.
Okay, but that's, you feel it's more of
I
how
believe
you
in
feel
Israel.
as
I
opposed
care
to a
about
specific,
Israel.
You don't have like a list. You're Zionist. Here's the rules, or here's the definition.
No, you know, you're my rabbi and stuff.
I was thinking that it was more about the belief that it was God ordained, so it had sort of a spiritual element to it as opposed to just a political space of protection. But
I think there are a lot of secular people who believe in Zion, who are Zionists, that don't believe that God played, you know, the hand in it.
okay, so you would see it as
Who are
just,
not religious at all.
so Zionism to you is just synonymous with just pro-Israel.
Well, I don't know if it's because of the times, but a lot of the kids that are growing up in Israel don't really understand what happened in 47th and 48 back then. You know, they believe and they love Israel and they're willing to fight and live and die for it. But I don't know if secular people really understand that.
Mm.
I happen to believe it, but it was, you know.
Well, I mean, we certainly can see in Islam that doesn't seem to be a bigger motivator than God saying, do this and you get this, or this is your destiny. And if I believe that, then sky's the limit. All bets are off because it's God.
Not
So,
all Muslims think like that, but
no.
there's a certain amount that do.
Yes.
And
But what I was
if I was a Muslim, I would be
referring to
so
was-
upset
Yeah.
that my religion was hijacked, the way it's hijacked. You know, being a Jew, every once in a while a crazy person pops up and does something totally insane, and what do the Jewish people do? They get all up in arms and make sure that this person is punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we generally, you know, that crazy person does something or shoots somebody or does something, we take this guy away.
Yeah.
These people, the whole religion is hijacked. They don't say anything.
Well, and what I was, I guess, trying to draw an analogy for is, if you believe that God has told you to do certain things, then you will do it because it's God. And so what I was curious about was perhaps there was a similar idea of Zionism or Judaism in that if God gave you this land, I'm not going to give it up because I've been told by God. Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the right to believe in that God has spoken. I mean, it's happened since the beginning of time. People believe that there's another power out there bigger than us that's kind of running the show, and we're supposed to answer to that.
But he doesn't tell you to do horrible things to
Right.
people who don't believe it.
Right.
I mean, my rabbi doesn't come out and go, you know, there's a group of people that don't like what we're doing, we got to kill them all. It just ain't happening.
Right.
In fact, I thought about this in all the years that this has been going on, and I hear my rabbi talk. He's never once flown into a rage, you know, about these people and how we got to get them, or, you know.
Right.
But
is that coming from his religious beliefs or more of just kind of a common sense approach to, let's just...
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Deeply religious man.
Mm-hmm.
But
perhaps a different
the difference
perspective
is,
as
you
how
know,
the
I
Jews
mean,
are taught to respond to violence or to attacks, and maybe each religion is going to have its own perspective, I guess, on how
there was a case recently. I mean, it was so insane. This did it happen in Kuwait? This father, this Muslim guy, and his wife and kids went to the beach. You can look it up. It's totally documented. It's unbelievable. His daughter was drowning. His young daughter was drowning, screaming, "Help, help, I'm drowning," in the ocean. Some lifeguards started running in to save her, male lifeguards, and the father stopped them because he didn't want his daughter violated and touched by a man. She drowned. He let his own daughter drown. So somebody's interpreting something here really weird when you're killing your own family, your own kids. And you know something? He would sacrifice the other daughter too, because this is what he believes. Who else has taught this stuff? Where does this come from?
Right. Do you I don't know, feel like as a Jewish man that maybe there's that's a place maybe you'd want to spend the rest of your life? I mean, you would go maybe to Israel. And retire there, and
you know, I've talked about it with my wife, and we would like to spend solid time there, but money we don't have. It's very expensive to live there.
Okay.
What was the saying? If you want to see how to live like a millionaire in Israel, go there with $10 million.
Okay.
Like the Jews are used as scapegoats. The Palestinians are used by their own people as scapegoats.
Right.
You know.
Well, and that's one of the things that I did read about. Was there was a Saudi Arabian prince who, when he heard of this option, and it was with this dove prime minister, Israeli, what's his name?
Netanyahu?
No, it was a dove. He was the guy who was going to give him everything.
Ehud Barak. Oh, no, it wasn't.
Elon or something, or what was his? Sharon? No.
Ariel Sharon, Ehud Barak.
Yeah, Barak. He was the guy that said, "Take everything, just leave us alone," and they didn't. But this Saudi Arabian prince was so angry because he's like, "We're never going to get a deal like this again."
Yeah.
Ever. And he's, you know, and somebody, there's a couple good quotes, you know, that Palestinians, what is it? They never pass up an opportunity to pass up an opportunity.
Yeah,
and
I've heard that.
things like that.
Sure.
But what was interesting was this Saudi prince said, you know, now I'm going to put the blame on the next Palestinian deaths on this, because you know, we're really good at saying no, and then we say yes, but it's already been off the table.
Right.
So it's kind of, but the thing that really seems to be interesting to me, and it's very delicate, is how they use their own people as deaths.
How
By
do you
putting
be-
them in
yeah,
the hospital, putting them
yeah.
in places where they know we're going to get bombed, hiding, using them as shields.
Yeah,
you know,
how do you deal with a
and then when
group
they
of people,
die, they
right.
get used that propaganda. See what Israel's are like? They kill our people, they kill babies, they bulldoze our homes. There's nobody in the home, but
Yeah.
that's not how they cut it
And
together.
Israel just made thousands of phone calls
Right.
and dropped leaflets. What other country does that?
Exactly.
Nobody.
And have made, and that their Supreme Court seems to be.
I wish my wife would call me when she's coming home mad, but she never gives me warning.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No kidding.
Never. I never get any warning from my own wife. Israel gives warning that they're on their way. My wife's coming home. I'm going to.
Right.
No phone calls, no leaflets.
Okay.
It's not right.
It isn't right.
I suffer like
and you've
this.
made her a pillow.
And of course, I'm a Jew. That's why she's doing this to me.
Is she not a Jew, your wife?
Yes, she is,
She
but
is, okay.
still.
Okay, that's how bad it is.
Yeah, that's how bad it
So
is.
bad it is. If there was something that you would want to say if a Palestinian was sitting here, here's a guy that hates you just because
Yeah.
you're Jewish. He doesn't know you. You know, more likely if you hung out and barbecued or whatever you guys could do together without somebody.
I have a friend who's Palestinian Muslim.
And is he anti-Israel?
You know, it's a good question. My friend Maz is his name.
Oh, Nazareth. The comic?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You're talking Maz
Oh, no, I'm thinking-
Jabrani?
No, I know another comic that's a
You
Palestinian.
know, he's not. And his mother still lives over there, and he's on the other side. But we are trying to work it out together. He's a very kind man. He's a very caring and a loving guy, and we're friends. And he's come to all three of my kids' bar mitzvahs. When we had one thing here, we'd have a breakfast in my synagogue. So he would come and celebrate. There's a guy who's a Jewish guy in a nursing home. He goes to visit him. See if he's
So you've
okay.
had the experience that many Palestinians, you know, or Arabs try to, or Muslims, say is, look, it's not all of us. It's this
Yeah.
leadership the leadership that is really putting us in harm's way. We'd just soon be left alone as well. I mean, you've had that experience. You would trust that would be true?
I think it is the politics, the leaders. They don't care about their people. They could care less about their people. You know, what are you going to do?
And if you were able to speak to them, just as a person, a human to human, what would your appeal be to them as in seeking peace? How would you talk to a guy like that just...
You know, I might say, I mean, I keep it pretty simple. I might say, listen, you know, I know it's hard to trust, but put the gun down, put the bombs down. Let's spend some time and see if our friendship doesn't, you know, work its way out. You know, Dennis Prager talks about dinners together, having groups of people together for dinners who are opposed to each other.
Yeah.
Black and white dinners. Blacks and white, because a lot of white people don't hang out with any black people. Black people don't hang out with white people. But if you put them together, you might see that. Don't look for the differences. I would say to them, don't look for our differences. Look for the similarities. That's what's important. That's how you become friends with somebody or understand them. What do I have similar with you?
Well, just you know, to wrap it up.
By the way, you know, Christians are so many Christians are so much closer to me than my own Jewish people.
Why is that?
Because you got Jewish people who are just by name Jewish, but that's it.
They disappoint you?
Well, I didn't disappoint, but they're very secular and they're not involved at all. You know, you on the other hand, you believe in the Creator, you believe in these things. I believe we have so much more in common.
Right.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, to try to be a balanced, fair exploration of this, and again, nobody's experts, or nobody's claiming to be, but so what would you, as a Jewish, pro-Israel American, what would you say about Israel you find disturbing, or is there anything you could say, I think they failed here, or they were wrong here, or this is not the approach they should have taken, that you would take umbrage with? Do you have anything that sticks out that you're uncomfortable with, maybe the way they go about some of their...
You know, I wish I could say I like to think about it, because I know you're leaving. So it's, you know, thinking about it is not such a good thing.
Well, and you don't have to contrive it. I just thought if you were to say, you know, I don't like that this happens, or I'm uncomfortable when they do this. Matter of fact, I heard that the only really religious group that maybe has a little bit of prejudice against in Israel are Jews that aren't as Orthodox. I mean, they're actually have more stigma on them than a Christian or a Muslim or all these other. They take that a little bit more seriously. Does that make sense to you? Have you ever seen that occur, where there's almost a class system of you're not Jewish enough?
Yeah, there are people who believe that. Yeah.
And I mean, have you seen that as something that occurs
in
Israel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen that here too.
Okay.
I've seen it in the United States. There are people who, I have seen that. But if you believe in God, God has no grandchildren, right?
Right.
Or there's a child, or there's everything or nothing. So I don't personally believe it, but there are people believe everything. You know, some people will tell you that this shirt is not yellow.
Yes.
You know.
That's in Common Core, though,
Yeah.
I believe. And there is nothing...
I need something to match my spine, either way.
That's good. Well, you have quite a spine to have sat here and endured my pathetic interviewing techniques, but I appreciate...
You know, one thing about Israel is it's interesting, because it's much easier for somebody to be good than to be courageous. Anybody can be good. Even the worst people do good things once in a while, you know, whatever that is. But to be courageous and really stand up for something you believe, that's difficult to do. And that's...
Because there's a cost.
There is a cost, because you're putting yourself on the line. I mean, I can donate money, that's a good thing, but to stand up for something, and that's where Israel, they stand up for what they believe in. It's a courageous country. The whole world is raining down on them, and yet they are courageous. They stand up and go, no, you ain't got this right. So I draw a lot of satisfaction from seeing that, a lot of strength.
That's good. And we need to see people really living it instead of talking about it. And that's the way you know that it can happen, is it's not theory. It's put into action, and you put your bottom line, and you're willing. You know, if you're, I think Martin Luther King said, you know, if you're not willing to, a man that's not willing to die for something isn't fit to live.
Yeah.
And so that's really how big this is that we're dealing with something that deals with real lives and deaths. And
You know, that movie that came out, was it a year ago or something on King?
Selma.
Was it Selma that came out?
Oh, yeah.
There's an example.
Yeah.
Abraham Joshua Heschel marched with Martin Luther King down Selma, Alabama. One of them with Tony Bennett, the whole holding hands. And in the movie, they take the Jew out of the march. They removed him. And the director said something like, well, I didn't want to cause controversy. It was the truth. The guy was in there. He was in the march. He was up front. He was close to Martin Luther King. They were friends.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Jew. Take him out. You know?
And this was a director's call.
It's the director's decision. The director decides who's going to be in there.
I didn't know
You know
that
what I mean?
part.
It's absolutely true.
So what gave you the courage to stand up for this stuff when a lot of other... See, part of the reason why I was seeking Jewish, and I told you this on the phone, Jewish comics, was first off because I knew that we could talk in a lighthearted way, not feel like we're Mr. Serious. We got plenty of those guys.
Yeah.
Nobody acting like we're experts, so you don't have to worry about not having all the facts right. But I also felt like it would give them an opportunity to use their cachet to care about this.
Right.
This and it's like, you know, do they not care? Maybe they're not pro-Israel. Maybe they would say, my brand's too valuable to risk.
Most of the really famous comics are secular,
Are they?
democratic,
And they're
left-leaning people. Most of them are. You're not going to really find, you know, I'm hard-pressed to, you know, find the really big, famous guys.
So it's not so much they're anti-Israel, or they just
Not
don't
at
care
all.
one way or the other. It's
They just
like,
don't have the facts, and they don't search it out. They'd rather watch a ball game than find this out.
Well, tell me about your friend Jerry Seinfeld, who's obviously...
Seinfeld's going to Israel in a couple of months.
So
He's a big fan of Israel. He loves Israel. He called me from the wall, you know, almost crying, you know, saying he just thought it was the most beautiful thing. I mean, he called me, he said, listen, I'm standing here at the wall here. This is unbelievable. He's bringing his whole family there.
Yeah.
He loves Israel and loves the Jewish people.
Why do you think he wouldn't want to be interviewed for something like this to talk about that? Think of the power of his name to draw other Jews to go, maybe I should give a listen to this thing if he's connected to it. I mean, that's what I was wondering. Is he concerned that his brand...
Well, he donates to Israel and he helps Israel, but I think that, I don't know that he wouldn't want to be, but he gets so inundated with people asking him to do things. You know, I'm not him, and I get phone calls trying to get him for organizations all the time.
Right.
Because I've been traveling with him for 14 years.
Sure, and I could totally understand him saying, look...
He must get 10 calls a week to be in
Of
this
course.
and be in that and do this and do that.
But I'm wondering how many are for standing up for Israel. I mean, that's got to be about as close to where he can be of most... Look, it's his business. I just was curious, you know, is that something that would matter enough to him to know that him being in something
Well,
like
maybe
this
he,
would draw Jewish people to watch it and go, maybe I should care.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't he want to use that cachet for the value of his...
Right, well, and to his own defense, I mean, he is going there to do his shows, and he's taking heat about it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there are people who back out that don't go.